Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Undergraduate Pilot Training Graduation Ceremony for Class 2605. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Alex Priscilla, Commander, 3rd Flying Training Squadron, training students in the mighty T-1 Jayhawk.
And I'm Lieutenant Colonel Julie Rainwaters, Commander, 71st Student Squadron.
Today's ceremony is a once-in-a-lifetime event. We encourage you to come forward and take pictures or videos when your loved one is presented with an award or their wings. For your planning purposes, the wings are presented by rank and then alphabetical order.
Please stand for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the national anthem of the United States, followed by the invocation given by Chaplain Christopher Gilmore.
I'm going to pray in my tradition. I invite you to pray in yours, or you may simply observe a moment of silence. Let's pray. Dear Lord, as I'm here before you today, among so many here to celebrate the hard work and dedication of these graduates in Class 2605, I want to thank you. Thank you, God, that they are joined by so many around them here physically and also in spirit to celebrate. Thank you that by your great and mighty hand you have kept them safe up to this point. But I do ask that in your amazing and divine powers that you would lead these pilots to also become some of the greatest leaders that the Air Force has ever seen. Use them to lead in all their training and in their careers so that we are even better equipped to engage the threats we face as a nation. Remind them, however, Lord God, that they are part of a team, that they are part of something with a global impact and are surrounded by other officers and enlisted personnel who are the backbone of our force. God, would you please grant them with both the resolve to lead well and the humility to learn how to do that effectively. Also, please help them to be the kind of officers that lead by example, not only in their professional lives, but in their personal lives. In their personal lives, God, I ask that you help them to either maintain or to build a thriving home life. Help them to be truly present when they are with their loved ones, as the missions may always be on their minds. Help them to aim towards finding a healthy balance of being an excellent officer and a father or mother, a husband or wife, a brother or a sister. Thank you, God, for the great privilege of being able to come here and celebrate with them. And I thank you, God, for who you have made them each to be. I pray these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Gilmore. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Today, 26 officers will receive their wings. On behalf of Colonel Joshua Lundaby, Commander, 71st Flying Training Wing, I'd like to welcome the family and friends of Class 2605, as well as several members of Team Vance, including squadron commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, spouses, and our ASRC and Amentum contractors.
We are honored to have the following guests from our civil and wing leadership here to support the graduates. The Mayor, City of Enid, the Honorable David Mason, and his spouse, Melanie. Representing the Director of Staff of the Air Force, Major General Robert Blake. The Command Chief, 71st Flying Training Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Harvey McReynolds, Jr. Airman of the Month, 71st Wing Staff Agency, A1C Justin Cortez. The Deputy Commander, 71st Flying Training Wing, Colonel Carl Miller III. The Commander, 71st Operations Group, Colonel Eric Bissonette and his wife Biz. The Senior Enlisted Leader, 71st Operations Group, Chief Master Sergeant Bo Warrenberg. The Commander, 71st Mission Support Group, Colonel Benjamin Jans and his wife Nancy. The Senior Enlisted Leader, 71st Mission Support Group, Chief Master Sergeant Adam Bearclough. The Commander, Vance Medical Group, Colonel John DeLumba. The Senior Enlisted Leader, Vance Medical Group, Chief Master Sergeant Alan Pickren. We are also honored to have the following distinguished visitors as special guests of Class 2605. Please stand or wave your hand to be recognized. On behalf of Second Lieutenant William Cook, Major General Vito Adabo, United States Air Force retired. Brigadier General Udo McGregor, United States Air Force retired. Colonel Frank Amadeo, United States Air Force retired. Colonel Edward Miller, United States Air Force retired. On behalf of Captain Robert Barlow, Colonel Robert Barlow, United States Air Force retired, and his spouse Karen. On behalf of Captain Kyle Ellefson, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Bradley Ellefson, United States Army retired. On behalf of Captain Corey Martovich, Chief Master Sergeant Katie Grabham, United States Air Force retired, and her spouse, Chief Master Sergeant Scott Grabham, United States Air Force retired. On behalf of Second Lieutenant Dominic Bellardo, Lieutenant Colonel Gaetano Falcone, Vance Joint Special Undergraduate Pilot Training Class 1003.
Yeah. We'd also like to give a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Lieutenant General John Healy, the Chief of Air Force Reserve, Headquarters U.S. Air Force, Arlington, Virginia. And the Commander, 71st Flying Training Wing, Colonel Joshua Lundaby, and his spouse, Steph. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Lundaby.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Vance Air Force Base, Enid, America. What a wonderful day as we celebrate our graduates here today. Mayor Mason, Melanie, thank you guys for being here as always. We could not do what we do without the support of Enid, so thank you so much for the support you provide, not only our students, but our permanent party here as well. Really appreciate it. To members of Team Vance that are with us here today, thank you all for what you do. This day would not be possible without each one of you. A big welcome to all of our service members and veterans. We've got a lot of them in the house today that are with us. Thank you for your service and setting the example for those that are in the front rows. To all the family members and friends of Class 2605, welcome to today's ceremony. You are the ones that provided our graduates with the principles, the moral compass, and the work ethic that helped them get through this very difficult program. Thank you for everything you've done to help them get to this point, and we're really excited to have you with us here today to celebrate. Please, a big round of applause for all of our attendees today. All right, so for those of you who don't know, Vance Air Force Base is one of 4 undergraduate pilot training bases in the Air Force, the best of the 4, might I add. Our mission is pretty simple. It's to provide world-class pilots, training those that are in the front rows here for the United States and our mission partners, our partner nations as well. Vance Air Force Base has been doing this for a long time, going back to 1941, and since then we've delivered over 38,000 world-class pilots. Of those graduates, we've had a number of notable figures. Among those ranks, we've had 2 Medal of Honor recipients, a World War II P-51 ace, 7 astronauts, over 200 general officers. That includes the 15th chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Rich Myers, and 2 first assignment instructor pilots of note, or FAPEs, as we like to call them, General Ron Fogelman, who became our Chief of Staff of the Air Force, and Colonel Eileen Collins, a Space Shuttle commander. And down in the front row as well, we've got Major General Blake, as was mentioned, MA, or Mobilization Assistant to the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. Sir, welcome back to Vance Air Force Base. Please. Class 2605, make no mistake, you guys are walking on hallowed ground. You guys are walking the same hallways as these heroes, flying the same tails with VN on the tail flash. I know you're going to make them proud. And making all of us here, Vance, proud. So thank you, guys. In the seats next to you are your fellow airmen that you now have, I would say, a very special bond. You've worked hard and hopefully had some fun along the way, but in the end, you've made it here to graduate and become pilots in our United States Air Force. You've experienced the wonder of flight and now know what it means to master something extremely difficult. But most importantly, I would say you understand that it takes a support system to get you in the air, and that goes well beyond yourselves. That requires an entire team. So we're here to celebrate you all, but I would like to call out a few groups within that total team that made today possible. For Vance Air Force Base, that overall team consists of over 2,900 airmen, government and civilians, and contract partners. Now, whether they're supporting, generating, or executing the flying mission, each team member played a vital role in this graduation class. But as mentioned, I'm going to call out 3. And the very first one is the least represented in the audience here today, and that is our instructor pilots. These men and women have molded our graduates into the professional aviators they are today and deserve a special thank you. You'll notice again there are very few IPs. I see a few in the back. We got a few in the front. And the reason for that is because the IPs that help mold these aviators into who they are already out, starting with the next class and building that next class of pilots. So please, join me in a round of applause for all of our instructor pilots. The second group I'd like to call out is our maintainers. If you didn't already know, pilots were pretty darn good at breaking airplanes, but we've got some amazing maintainers that are able to get them back in the fight and quickly. So I'd like to call out our MAQ team, our Momentum team. We've got a fleet of nearly 200 aircraft, and again, you hear them out buzzing around in the airspace right now. They turn them, they get them back to the pilots, and then they go ahead and break them again. But it's an endless cycle. We appreciate what they do. Please, a round of applause for all of our maintainers. All right, the final group I'd like to call out is all of our support and medical personnel. Defenders, services, finance, NPF, dental, flight medicine, airmen, these are only a few of the groups that go into supporting the airmen that we produce here. The wings that you're about to receive would not be possible without their support. And I know that they are just as proud of you as I am. So please, let's give a round of applause for all of our support personnel. All right, on behalf of all of Team Vance, I want to say congratulations and welcome to the military family, or military aviation family. You were already in the military family. All right, so now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our guest speaker here today, Lieutenant General John Healy, Air Force Chief of Reserve and Commander Air Force Reserve. His journey started in 1989, commissioning through ROTC. I think we've got some ROTC members that went through together during that time frame here, which is amazing. He'd go on to attend UPT at Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi. Sure, I won't hold that against you. He would go on to graduate in 1991 and really became a pioneer for our Air Force. He flew the C-141 Starlifter, but was handpicked to stand up the C-17 out at Charleston Air Force Base, really ushering in a new era of strategic airlift. One that I got to enjoy. Sir, thank you so much for that, and was also a member of the same squadron, 17th Airlift Squadron. He would go on to earn over 5,000 flight hours in the 141, the C-17 and the C-5. He'd commanded the squadron, the vice wing, the NAF levels, and served in multiple combatant commands, including CENTCOM and EUCOM. And today, he's responsible for every Air Force Reserve unit across the globe and serves as the principal advisor on reserve matters to the Secretary of the Air Force and the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. What I'll tell you is he began in seats just like yours. He went on to master his craft in the air and now leads our Air Force at the highest of levels. He's living proof of the limitless potential that starts right here at graduation, just like today. So please, everybody, join me in welcoming to the stage Lieutenant General John Healy.
Nobody ever likes hearing those things. Well, thank you very much, and welcome to all of our distinguished visitors, to our family, to our friends, but most of all, to the Undergraduate Pilot Training Class of 2605. Congratulations. It's awesome to be at a UPT base and actually hear the buzz, hear the whirl, and actually get to fly yesterday a little bit too. So as you can imagine, being an old guy, as it was pointed out, it brings back some memories to when I graduated from UPT. And I tell you, the couple of things that came to mind during the Wing Commander speech was the fact that I wouldn't have made it if they had cell phones back then, by the way. Pictures and the ability to actually keep track of what I did throughout my career, it'd be probably a lot less likely to be where I'm at. But I graduated, I hate to admit, 9106, which puts me in the category with all these old guys in the front two rows right there, and it's kind of surreal. I was engaged at the time, and the only thing I knew about my future was I was going to get married pretty soon, and I was going to join the Air Force and go fly somewhere. So it was kind of a wide open. For the families and friends here today, I'm sure that you've been keeping track along the way with your loved ones in terms of what they've been doing for the last year. You're going to hear some acronyms, and we're going to apologize for that up front. You're going to hear some words and some discussions. I don't mean to scare you. I don't mean to spook you in terms of the real world of what we're doing out in the Air Force, but it's a sense of reality. It's a challenging program that they go through. I certainly was not nearly as dedicated or as I didn't pursue it as much when I was in college as I did when I came to UPT. This is all about what I'm going to do for the rest of my career. So you got to bear down with dedication, because graduation is earned here. It's absolutely earned and demonstrated by the mastery of flight and the foundational principles that have been served in the Air Force for decades in the past. 2605, you've earned this, and with these silver wings, you move to be a pilot in the most lethal and powerful Air Force that the world has ever known. It's an outstanding achievement in itself, but remember, today is just the beginning of the training that you're going to go to truly master the skills of the airplanes that you're going to go fly. Our training was considerably different. I finished my degree at University of Connecticut, #2 in the country right now. So I graduated in May, and I had to wait until February. And this is something that I'm sure everybody here can commiserate with, because there's some breaks occasionally in training. I had to wait until February before I went to pilot training. Not all bad. I met my wife there. It's worked out so far. Back then, it was a one-size-fits-all curriculum. Our syllabus was everybody flew the T-37, everybody flew the T-38. The T-37 was known for its whine, its shriek. The tweet salute, they used to call it, was that, because it was so loud it could break nerves, it could break glass. But then you moved on to the T-38. Everybody went through the T-38. Fastest roll rate in the inventory. I flew it yesterday. I did not test that fastest roll rate in the inventory. So there was nothing better in the day. I remember being tapped. You'd be sitting in the unit just studying, and they come in like, Healy, solo to the area, 6 minutes. And you're like, so you literally, you go out, you get to the bathroom, you grab your stuff out of your locker, you go to the soft desk, you get an update on the area, grab your G-suit, grab your helmet. 5 minutes later, you're in a bread box van driving out to an airport, or the airplane. You secure the rear seat, you get in the front seat, you start the engines. Literally 25 minutes from when they said, Healy, solo to the air, you're flying a multi-million-dollar supersonic jet, practicing flying for the Air Force. And you think about it now in terms of what company in the world can you get that kind of freedom, that kind of responsibility, like 8 months into your journey? Here's the keys to a multi-million-dollar jet. Go get better at your craft. It's surreal to think about it now. Some interesting reminders of back when I graduated, 91. You've always got to hit the high notes of what was on in the past. So at the time, the #1 album that came out that year, and let me back up, an album for you in the front 4 rows is it's a vinyl 12-inch disc that they etch the songs into, and you flip it over halfway through. You play it on a record player. Let me back up. So a record player, it's part of a stereo rack. Well, let me back up. So anyway, the #1 debut that year that came out was Nirvana, Nevermind, which it blew me away when I found that out, because it still rocks to this day. I still listen to it. Seinfeld's first episode came out in 1991, a show about absolutely nothing that's just endured all this time. It wasn't a #1 song, but MC Hammer had a song called Hammer Time. And what was famous about that was the Hammer pants that came out. And I know that one of my roommates had a pair of those Hammer pants, and I am 95% sure that General Adabo still does too. So. The World Wide Web debuted in August of '91. There was nothing prior to that, and realistically, there was nothing after that for a few years. But I can't even fathom a day where ChatGPT couldn't have written this speech for me. I mean, it's crazy to even think about it right now. But the most significant thing that occurred in '91 is Iraq invaded Kuwait. And since then, we've been in CENTCOM ever since. So one thing or another. As a matter of fact, 3 weeks from now, we've got a reserve unit that's in command of one of the bases over there. And before they rip out, I get the chance to go over and visit them and give them a job well done. So all that's to say is that the Air Force that you're joining today, your imagination of what you think the Air Force is going to be 5, 10, 37 years later, is probably not going to be the same. So be a part of that development of the Air Force as we move forward. Be a part of that evolution. Take what's accepted out there, that this is the most powerful Air Force that the world has ever seen, but bring your own innovation into that. Bring your own intelligence, bring your own drive to make it your Air Force as well. I did bring a prop along with me today. This is actually my original issue UPT pilot, my helmet bag back then. So little difference. It's a little stained right now. It's a little kind of hard in some cases down here. It's a little ripped, but the big difference is when I went through as well is all we carried in that was our helmet, some ear protection, some gloves, maybe a whiz wheel, maybe a disposable camera for that solo to the area. But I also carried forever and a day, I carried a knife, a spoon, and a fork that was presented to me on assignment night at the Columbus Air Force Base Okla back in 1991. I lost the fork, or I broke the fork decades ago, but I had that spoon and knife all the way up until a trip I did in the Philippines this last summer, and I just discovered when I was putting the bag together that I lost it. So, Liam, if by some chance I have it set after tonight's event, that I won't say anything. So I prepped so hard after college for UPT. I had a lot of fun in college. Vito can attest to that. I had a lot of fun in college. But I was determined, like I said, this was about my life. This was about my career. I had to bear down and make sure that I was doing the right thing. I didn't know if I could fly. I'd been we did light aircraft training just to ensure that you had the capability, but that was in a Cessna. So I get to Columbus Air Force Base. I go through academic training. I do great, no problem at all. Meet my instructor pilot, go get in the tweet, and my instructor, Captain Tammy Phillips, we taxi out, she takes off, we get to the area, airplane's yours. I could fly, so at least that part of the goal was met. And then you go on from there. It's amazing. It's a little bit different with the people that came in with a little bit more experience on this, but the fact that you didn't know until you did it. We ended up moving into a house, 4,000 square foot antebellum home with 3 guys. Pat Wade ended up retired 2-star reservist as well. Jay Love and Andy Rama. So we still stay in touch. We lived on hamburger helper and espresso. We would make literally quarts of espresso the night before, put it in the freezer for those morning calls, the 0400, 05 o'clock showtimes. Like I said, that's significantly different in terms of how we did it right now. UPT 2.0, IPT as it's rolling in, XPW, all of these things are made to make you more efficient and more effective within Air Education and Training Command to ensure that we can get to the 1,500 pilot production goal that we desperately need in the Air Force to grow the Air Force into the lethal and ready force that we need. After UPT, I remember walking into my first unit. I'd gone to FTU as well. It was the 18th Airlift Squadron flying the 141. A 141 was an airplane back in the day, so back to the old comment a little bit earlier. But I remember walking in, I had to go report into my chief pilot. He was this unbelievably old major, maybe 31, 32 years old. Scary as all get out. He had me sit down, he opened up a map of base ops and he says, if you park here and get a ticket, it's a letter of counseling. If you ever scuba dive, it's a letter of counseling. If you ever give blood, it's a letter of counseling. Go check in, I'll see you next week, we're fly local. Okay, so you go do your in-process, you can come back a week later. I end up doing a pattern local, a couple guys fly in the seat first, and then he says, get the new guy in. So this is the Air Force I joined, by the way. Get the new guy in. We're on crosswind, I strap in, I pull my seat forward. As he's rolling out of downwind, we're wings level, he rolls his seat back, pulls a part of his earmuff out, he says, your airplane, your jet, or your radios, which was unusual, lights up a cigarette. And he's just sitting there, leaning back in the pilot's seat, just smoking a cigarette and watching me fly for the next hour. And I got to tell you, I knew right then and there, I think the training part's over right now. So, but what I learned as well, and it's an important point for you all as you go on to your next thing, is in that hour of flying, he decided where I fit into the unit. He decided if and when I was going to go to airdrop training, if and when I was going to go be air refueling qualified, and when I was going to fall in the pecking order to go to upgrade to aircraft commander. So make sure you keep that in mind when you show up coming out of your FTU, going into your first actual assignment. You know, the Air Force you're joining is not the same one that I joined in 1991. We like I said, Iraq invaded Kuwait, Desert Storm had started. Since then, in my career, 37 years, we've been in war, crisis, contingency for the entirety of my career. Every single minute we've been in some sort of crisis or contingency operation. During Desert Storm, we had the titans back then of the aviation industry. The F-111 was out there. The F-4 was one of our things. F-117 came and quickly went as well. All analog steam gauges. So we didn't have tablets. We didn't have checklists. We had our checklists and we had our paper pubs that gave us tendinitis in the elbow and carpal tunnel syndrome as well. We had binders filled with paper. If we wanted a moving map, we unfolded a paper map and moved it with our hand. If you wanted to take a picture of your first solo, you had to make sure to put a disposable camera hidden somewhere, take 24 pictures, mail it off to Kinko Copy or to Photo Hut, and hope that one of the 24 pictures came out. I would venture to say from all the people in the audience right now, there's at least a dozen photos posted to Instagram already. So in my day, we had no doubt, though, that we had the best equipment and even better airmen. Our airmen were the best, and that hasn't changed at all. Our airmen absolutely remain our competitive advantage going forward. You know, but the strategic environment is dynamic right now. We're facing a peer adversary in Indo-PACOM, and the tyranny of distance, the Chinese threat will challenge us, is daunting. Who knows exactly what's on the horizon for you, but I can assure you and your families that you should expect long days, uncertain schedules, and the continued demand from excellence for all of you. Take a look around to your left and right. The men and women seated next to you right now. Look at that, they listen too. That's fantastic. The bonds you built during UPT are not going to go away. I'm the only one remaining from my class of 9106. I might be the only one remaining from class 91 anything, but I still keep in touch with my roommates from UPT. Like I said, one went to the 141, one to the F-16, one to the C-9, and one to the KC-10. 3 of those jets are gone. In the reserves, we only have 1 unit left of F-16, so it's amazing how much time has gone by. But some of these folks here in the front row can attest, we've known each other for a little bit. So, I mean, the most nascent of the familiarization is myself and General Blake. We've known each other for probably about 12 or 13 years. Ed and Frank I've known for 20. Carl, I was Carl's instructor pilot when he was a lieutenant colonel coming into the C-17. Years later, he turns out to be my ops group commander when I went over to the C-5 unit at Westover. I've known Vito since I was a freshman in college, so it goes back. You're going to be amazed at how long this lasts. The point of this is the Air Force that you're joining is a family as well. The people you meet, your instructors, your leaders, your commanders, the relationships that will shape you in ways that you can't predict, and you got to take care of those relationships. Thankfully for you, it's a little bit easier than us back in the day. You had to give your pager number out and hope to be near a payphone or something so you can return the call at some point. We actually wrote letters. My wife still has those letters. I'm embarrassed that they're going to come out someday, but it's so easy for all the countless ways that you all are going to be able to keep in touch. But just keep in mind also that your number one job going forward is to be the absolute best pilot, period. To be ready at a moment's notice and be excited to go forward and break stuff. Like he said, we're good at breaking stuff, and we can change out the word stuff if you want, but our job is to break stuff, deter aggression, and defend the way of life that we've grown up with. If you think the hard part's behind you, think again. It requires discipline, proficiency, and skill to be at the top of your game from start to finish. Your charge is to know the tactics, techniques, and procedures of your aircraft, and to quote Bill Belichick, the recently maligned Bill Belichick, do your damn job. So do your job with excellence and take risk and understand where you fit in the fight. Doing your job, it's not just a bunch of words. The fight you're preparing to be in is going to be fought with potential dangers and hazards, fought over giant oceans, contested airspace against a peer who is technologically as advanced as we are. Your ability to know your aircraft, adapt in the cockpit, your ability to be lethal, reliable wingmen isn't just a talking point. It could be the difference between victory and failure. You should be chomping at a bit to get into the fight right now, I tell you. Our Air Force is a smaller footprint and demands more from each of us, but no one will go into this fight alone in the future. We serve as a total force, active duty, Air National Guard, and the Air Force Reserve. So as you come forward to receive your wings today, you're joining a proud legacy and becoming a part, as I said, of the greatest Air Force the world has ever known. Don't take the responsibility lightly, because you are the next generation of American air power. Congrats. Welcome to the fight.
Thank you, General Healy. Captain Austin Barlow and Second Lieutenant William Cook from Class 2605 would like to present you with a small token of appreciation for being part of this special occasion.
We will now recognize individuals who excelled in one or more phases of training. The new pilots competed for academic, leadership, and flying training awards, as well as the top wingman, distinguished graduate, and the coveted AATC Commander's Trophy. Each phase of training was carefully weighed, and only a slight margin separated the top performers. Family and friends, please come down and take photos as your graduate receives their awards. Please be mindful of our public affairs photographer, Sarah. They'll be taking official photos during this time. And Colonel Leneby will wait as long as you need to come take photos, so take your time. Colonel DeLombo will present the Academic Excellence Award to the pilots whose overall academic test averages exceeded those of their peers. The recipient of the Academic Award for the T6 is Second Lieutenant Theodore Tona. The recipient of the academic award for the T1 is Second Lieutenant Allison Marshall.
Colonel Jans will present the Leadership Award. The Leadership Award is presented to the officers who demonstrated outstanding leadership qualities and potential throughout this most rigorous and demanding military training program. The recipient of the Leadership Award for the T6 is Captain Kyle Ellefson. The recipient of the Leadership Award for the T1 is Captain Ryan Belfield.
Colonel Bissonette will present the Flying Training Award. The Flying Training Award is presented to the pilots whose daily flying performance and check ride scores exceeded those of their peers. The recipient of the Flying Training Award for the T6 is Second Lieutenant Theodore Tona.
Well done again. Well deserved.
The recipient of the Flying Training Award for the T1 is Second Lieutenant William Cook.
Colonel Lundaby will present the Top Wingman Award. Selected by their peers, the Top Wingman Award is presented to the graduates who epitomize the support and teamwork critical to being a great wingman. The recipient of the Top Wingman Award for the T6 is First Lieutenant Dylan Barra. The recipient for the Top Wingman Award for the T1 is Captain Ryan Belfield.
Colonel Lundaby will present the distinguished graduates. To be selected for this honor, a student must maintain an exceptionally high average in all phases of training and finish in the top 10% of the class. The first distinguished graduate from T6s is First Lieutenant Caton Scholes.
Good job, Clayton.
The second distinguished graduate for the T6 is Second Lieutenant Theodore Tona.
Nice work.
The distinguished graduate for T1s is Second Lieutenant William Cook.
Good job. Finally, the most prestigious trophy that Air Education and Training Command presents to a pilot training graduate is the AETC Commander's Trophy. These pilots excelled in both flying and academics and demonstrated the initiative and leadership qualities essential to the professional Air Force officer. Additionally, they personify the tenet of the Order of the Dedalians, a group dedicated to military aviation, personal integrity, and patriotism. General Healy will present this special award reserved for the officers who attain the highest overall rating throughout their programs. The winner of the AETC Commander's Trophy for the T6 is Second Lieutenant Theodore Tona. Well done. And the winner of the AETC Commander's Trophy for the T1 is Second Lieutenant William Cook. Really well done. Yeah. Don't drop it.
At this time, Colonel Lundaby would like to recognize the instructor pilots from the 3rd and 33rd Squadrons selected by Class 2605 who most embodied the Air Force core values during their T6 and T1 training and provided exceptional mentorship and instruction. Colonel Lundaby will present the recipients with a plaque in recognition of their hard work. Receiving the award from T-Flight, First Lieutenant Hunter Jennings.
Yeah.
Receiving the award from U-Flight, First Lieutenant Michael Espasto. Receiving the award from Ocho Flight, Captain Miguel Cruz.
Yeah.
This concludes the awards portion of the ceremony. And now the time that we have all been waiting for. Colonel Lundaby will formally present the diplomas and pilot wings to our graduates. As they exit the stage, they will receive a commemorative coin with their unique graduation number from the 71st Student Squadron First Sergeant, Master Sergeant Christina Annable. The new pilot's family and friends are invited to pin on the Air Force wings following the graduation ceremony.
Having completed the required course of training, the following officers from Class 2605 are awarded the aeronautical rating of Air Force Pilot. Captain Austin Barlow.
Captain Ryan Belfield.
Captain Austin Correo.
Captain Kyle Ellefson.
Captain Nicholas Franco.
Captain Rain Jones. Oh.
Oh, Rain. Captain Corey Martovich.
Captain Landon Moore.
First Lieutenant Dylan Barra.
First Lieutenant Caton Scholes.
Second Lieutenant Noah Alexander.
Second Lieutenant Madison Atkinson.
Second Lieutenant Dominic Bellardo.
Second Lieutenant Casey Burnetts.
Second Lieutenant Sarah Brandt.
Second Lieutenant William Cook.
Second Lieutenant Tiger Cox.
Second Lieutenant Kyle Dolan.
Second Lieutenant Allison Marshall.
Second Lieutenant Aiden Martin.
Second Lieutenant Cole Retzler.
Second Lieutenant Andrew Smith.
Second Lieutenant Gage Terrian.
Second Lieutenant Theodore Tona.
Second Lieutenant Jeremy Williams.
Second Lieutenant Dion Winston. To complete today's ceremony, Colonel Lundaby will present Class 2605.